All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we're getting into how to get after it when you don't have the motivation to do so. So whether it's accomplishing goals or doing things you have to do in your everyday life, how to do that stuff and still accomplish those goals when you don't have the motivation to do so. And let's be honest, that's the majority of the time in our lives. And I'll get into what I mean by that, how to fight that, how to power through, and what the fans have submitted as their ways and methods to do that as well. All that plus a bunch of current events, a good Cage fact, and potentially a big announcement at the end. So you want to stay tuned for that. It's all going to happen right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti. All those newcomers out there, welcome. All the returning Jabronis, thanks again for being here. Got a real good episode today. We're getting into how to accomplish our goals when we don't have the motivation to do so. It's going to come up in the Junction, but we'll get into some current events first. Hope everybody had a good week. I did it. It's been busy lately here, folks. I don't know how you guys have been dealing with it, but a lot's been going on, continues to go on, which is not really a bad problem to have, except when you are, not motivated to handle all that stuff, and hopefully we'll be able to fix some of that. But first, a couple of things I want to get into, little news updates, administrivia, what have you. If we're keeping tally, and you could probably keep tally by listening to previous episodes, we have several more hazardous waste incidents, I don't know what the right word is, that have occurred in the past week again. A couple more derailments, some fires and explosions going on that involved hazardous waste materials or chemicals, and still no official, information put out by our government, our administration. The head of transportation, I think, has been speaking on it a little bit. Who is that guy? Pete Buttigieg. That guy is a military veteran. He's in charge of the Department of Transportation somehow. He put out some stuff, I think. What they did not do yet is put out any sort of funding or any remedy for it. And I don't know if these are happening coincidentally. I don't know if the number has increased only because eyes are on it now and people are paying attention, and this is a normal amount of train derailments and fires and incidences that are going on around the country annually. I don't know what's going on. I know my eyes are on it, so there's probably some sort of bias behind why I'm seeing more of it. Because it's popping up in my feeds a little bit more, and I'm doing some more digging on it. So that's probably a big reason why, at least on my end. But it would be nice to hear from you guys if you're seeing the same thing, if you're noticing more things happening, or is your algorithm just pushing you more things happening and it's really a normal occurrence? I don't know. Regardless, it shouldn't be considered a normal occurrence when these tragic events happen, because they're affecting lives, not only in the immediate instance when an explosion happens or a derailment, but the long-term effects of chemical spillage and hazardous cleanup or improper cleanup, I should say, and the fallout of that. So always keeping my eye on that one. And we'll, more to come on that, but I wanted to, put it out there for more people. It's still happening, and there's still nothing being done about it. And there's a whole bunch of theories going around by important people, smart people, about why this is happening, and the complete lack of infrastructure to support these train systems, these, transport systems and what have yous, and it's a mess. All right, but we're going to move on because I could talk about that all day, and nobody wants to hear about that. I don't even want to hear about that. I'm just talking about it for no reason now. All right. Another interesting story. I don't know if it's hypocritical. It's not really. It's just funny to me. The Church of Latter-day Saints, LDS, part of the Mormon people. I don't know if it's all one, if it's all Mormon, or if Latter-day Saints is a sect of Mormon, like a sect of Christianity almost. But they just got fined for hiding some financial assets during their, I don't know, tax returns or whatever, through some of their shell companies. I guess they had a couple of secret shell organizations that they were funneling money through, and they got busted for it and got fined for it. Now, seems like a mundane story. Probably happens a lot. There's a lot of corporations that do this stuff all the time. It's very shifty and seedy and sleazy. But the interesting thing is, and this is a news report that was sent to me by a fan and brother in arms, the Bradley Blotter. He's always providing me these good news updates, so shout out to him. But the interesting part here is that they got fined $5 million. Okay, seems like a lot, right? $5 million. There should be a fine that really, takes a hit to the people for breaking the law. You're supposed to have a punishment that sort of fits the crime when it comes to the justice system, at least on paper. So $5 million seems okay. The assets they were hiding, money and probably property and what have you, total up to $32 billion. Okay? They didn't lose the assets. They didn't have to forfeit any of the assets. The shell organization that got hit the hardest with the fine still gets to exist. They're paying the majority of the fine, I think. And then the LDS church itself is paying, $5 million. $5 million on $32 billion of seedy, under the table hiding of assets, financial and property assets. $32 billion that they have in a slush fund almost. And they get essentially a slap on the finger, not even a slap on the wrist. If you're doing the numbers correctly, if you look at the grand scheme of things, $5 million is literal chump change out of the pockets of that community, out of the people who own that slush fund. So they literally got away with $32 billion of theft because they keep the assets, they keep the money, and they give us a couple of bucks on the side, $5 million is worth, and we'll be good to go. Meanwhile, the IRS is ramping up their attacks on the taxpayers, the people who are not breaking the law, and they're going to start targeting more so and really honing in on the service industry when it comes to filing taxes for tips. So if restaurants and service industries are not filing correctly on the amount of tips that come in, they're going to get fined a penalty. So the tips that keep these people putting food on the plates of their families at home, on the tables of their families, that are working their behinds off day in and day out to provide for their families, and they rely on tips, they're going to get hit harder now because that's what the IRS is focusing on instead of seizing $32 billion in assets from an illegal, enterprise, if you will. But that's neither here nor there. That's another news update for you. Another interesting update for you guys. This is all very funny to me. All this stuff is very laughable at this point, that this is what's going on. Big time old guy and senator, congressman, I don't know what he is anymore. He works for the government. He's 1 billion years old with the rest of them. Bernie Sanders is catching some heat for... He's on a book tour, and he's doing like a speaking tour as well, and you can buy tickets to the speaking tour. He's selling them through Ticketmaster for $95 a ticket. And this part of this speaking tour and these engagements that he's charging $95 a pop for are to promote his book about the woes of capitalism and how, the Bernie Sanders model is the way to go when it comes to financial living and what have you. Now, what is funny about this, in case you don't pick up on it, is that Bernie is using the current version of capitalism, which is finding ways to make the most money, to sell his ideas on Bernie Sanders socialism, socialist, democratic, whatever he calls it. I don't exactly know. I don't pay attention too much to it. But it is very funny that he's using what he considers to be the devil when it comes to our system to gain, gain money, get rich, continue to be rich, be richer than he already is, because he's a pretty rich guy already. He's made a lot of profit on his selling his ideas. So he was asked about it, why he was doing it, and he said he has no control over Ticketmaster's processes and how they charge and whatever. And then when somebody asked him, well, why are you charging to begin with? This should be right in line with your ideals of providing information to people who need this information. You say they need it, so provide it to them for $0. He didn't answer that. He just walked away. So interesting, very funny. It doesn't matter what you believe about Bernie Sanders as a person. I'm trying to highlight the hypocrisy of somebody in our government who says one thing, chastises something, and then goes right around underneath our stupid noses to use that thing that he chastises for his advantage. Okay? And it happens on both sides. Okay? We see it with George Santos lying through his teeth. I guess he's a Republican, lying through his teeth to gain favor and talk about how he's going to be an honest, hard-working congressman for the people. And his entire life's a lie. His entire campaign was a lie. So this is just another story of hypocrisy, just to get you guys, all warm and fuzzy about who's running our government. By the way, I'm sure he wears diapers as well, along with that dinosaur Dianne Feinstein, 100 years old. Give me a break. All right, for all those people out there, we're moving on here, folks. We're just going to keep it going. For all the people out there who love the air fryers. Now, this is not a terribly big story. Most people have probably not seen this at all. It's not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things. I want to admit, I personally added this in here as a jab, as a joking jab. It's not a real jab, but just to stick it to the air fryer community, because, as you know, I am anti-air fryer. I'm pro-oven, okay? This one company of air fryer, Cosori, I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know if it's Italian or not. Cosori, Cosori, whatever. They have a recall of like 2 million, several million air fryers that they were selling on Amazon, their website, other places as well. They have the brands listed. You can go look up Cosori air fryer recall, and they have the specific models that need to be recalled and fixed because there's a glitch in the electronics, and it's causing fires and mayhem in people's houses. So that's, we don't want anything bad to happen to the people using these. We don't want anything, any injuries or houses going up in flames or what have yous. But if you're, part of the pro-oven movement, this is just a further evidence to just stick with the oven and not buy another gadget and gizmo to do something you already have built into your house with you, right there for you. If you're on the if you're going gas versus electric, that war, those teams, this is certainly evidence for the pro-gas movement, because there was that recent push by certain states and stuff to ban natural gas ovens and stoves in households because they're dangerous. That's what they were saying anyway. And then this happens, and millions of people have to recall their air fryers. So, again, I personally put that in there. This is a biased report. Okay, it made me chuckle a little bit. I hope everybody is okay in reality. I hope nobody got hurt from this. I hope Cosori can get this issue fixed and get the air fryers back out so people can make their 4 wings in the oven, or their air fryer, I guess. In the meantime, use the oven, make 50 wings. And now you have wings for days. Okay, there you go. The last thing I want to hit on in the news world is really more of like a lack of news with this topic. Everybody knows several weeks ago or whatever it was, the big news was the unidentified flying objects that we were shooting down. These balloons, these mechanisms up in the air with unknown propulsion systems and this and that. 3 or 4 of them were shot down within a week. One we know was China. It was a spy balloon. They got that one. The other 2 or 3, no information. And those stories completely died. We went from only talking about unidentified objects, UAPs, what is it? Unidentified aerial projectiles or whatever they're calling them, phenomenon, being shot down. So we're using $100 million aircraft with $250,000 missiles to shoot down these objects. And the only information we have post all these shoot downs is that at least one of them seems to be a hobbyist balloon that was put up by a private company that was shot down. It was somebody who bought a balloon as a hobbyist balloon thing, and they had it up there as a personal thing, and that was shot down. And the story stopped. There was no information on, we recovered them, we found out what's going on, we can identify who owns them or what they were. Nothing. Complete silence about the whole thing. It went from the story of the century, all eyes on the balloons, to dead silence about them. And I bring that up because if nothing else, the dead silence should be deafening for us. That should be the alert, the yellow flag, the whistle for us to question what's going on. How come it went from the only thing we were talking about to we will talk about literally anything but that? I don't know. I don't have any speculation. I don't have my own opinion on it. It's just, it's wild to me. So if you have any information on why, please let me know. And if you have any information on the results of these shoot downs and what the heck is going on, let me know, because I love the UFO stuff. I'm a pro-alien guy. I'm a pro-UFO guy. I'm a tinfoil hat guy when it comes to the alien stuff. I want them to be real. I want to do Independence Day. I want to do Mars attacks. I want to do all that stuff. ET, what have you. I want in on it. I'm ready for it. So if you got any information, push it my way, please. All right. With that, we'll get into the good stuff, because I know that's why you're here, the good stuff. And it's coming to you here. First things first, we'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by General Patton's Leather Gloves. Are you looking to lead troops into combat and need a pair of gloves that asserts dominance but also has the durability to slap around a shell-shocked yellow-belly soldier without tearing up the leather? Well, look no further than General Patton's gloves. General's gloves provide confidence in you, coupled with a custom Nazi skin leather that allows for the utmost durability in any wartime condition. Remember, no bastard ever won a war by dying barehanded. They won by making the other poor dumb bastard die barehanded. So glove up or shut up today by visiting www.giglove.com and use the promo code COMBATMITTENS for 29% off. I got a pair of gloves, leather gloves, when I had a motorcycle, when I was up in South Dakota, riding through the Black Hills, crashing my bike everywhere, laying up in front of girls on Vespas in embarrassing fashion. But I had a pair of leather gloves that made me feel so damn cool and so bitchin'. Fonzie was going to think I was cool if he ever saw me. And I think that's what General Patton's trying to do here, is provide that little extra oomph, pep in your step when you're out there in combat in the trenches of war trying to get after it. Because, look, there's the old saying goes, at least in the baseball community, look good, feel good, play good. Okay, it all kind of coincides. So if you have the right stuff to feel good, you're going to fight good. Okay, and you're going to slap around a couple of yellow-bellied bitches in the process. So get yourself a pair today. All right, the Cage fact. This is fun for me. This is an exciting one for me. Hopefully it excites you as well. It was announced that on March 5th, Variety is having an award presentation at the Miami Film Festival in Miami, in case you didn't realize that, in this March. So a couple weeks here. And Nic Cage is going to be presented with Variety's Legends and Groundbreakers Award. Now, previous winners of this award are Hans Zimmer, some other famous guy, I forgot who it was, and Francis Ford Coppola. The other guy is a famous guy, but I forgot who it was, so he wasn't that famous. But Francis Ford Coppola is Nic Cage's uncle. So he's in good company. The other actor that was mentioned in this article is also a very top-tier actor, so I apologize for blanking on that. But the article went on to say that the people in charge of the Variety company, who's the board who picks the winners each year, if they do it each year, said that Nic Cage is really just the perfect candidate for this. He's got, quote, great range, dramatic power, and a comedic verve like none other. Okay? That was in the article. That's not me writing this, okay? Let's just LPDS caveat right now. I didn't write this article. If you read it and you don't look at the author's name, you would think I wrote this article, but I did not. Okay, there is just another person out there who has some sense inside their noggins and understands that this is the great one. Okay? They also went on to say that he is the very definition of a legend. And they brought up his repertoire, his portfolio of films, his awards, his cult following, his sort of mystical status in the real world. Everything about this article makes you think I wrote it. I get it, but I didn't write it. You could go check it out. You just Google Nic Cage wins Variety Award. Variety's Groundbreakers and Legends Award, or whatever it is. Okay, and then go read the article, and they'll show you, and you'll see this is all third-party information. Okay, I'm just reporting it to you. I'm just providing the facts. Okay, that's what this is. This is the Nic Cage facts segment, Into the Cage. All right, that's the Cage fact. I'm very excited. I hope they televise this because I want to see him get an award. I have no words. I would be very excited to see him win an award. He more than deserves it. Anyway, that's the Cage fact. Hope you appreciate it as much as I did. We'll move on into the Junction, spin the logo up. The topic today, and it's sort of building on previous topics that we discussed, recently, as we continue to try to better our lives and become better people, is how we fight through those stages in our lives that we have no motivation. Fighting through the lack of motivation to be able to accomplish our goals and take care of our tasks that we set out to do each and every day. And I brought this up. This was something that was I was discussing with somebody randomly about how they're trying to do something with their lives, lose weight or whatever. I forgot exactly what it was. And they were talking to me about how it's tough on some days to get up and go to the gym or to find the time to go to the gym. This person had a family. They have a job. They have responsibilities at home after their job. You're working 8 to 10 hours a day, and then you got to go home and you have a family. You can't just disappear on your family. You got to take care of your kids, make sure your spouse is getting all their needs and wants and desires, and everyone's happy and hunky-dory, and then you have your goals you want to accomplish separately. It gets tough. It gets daunting. And a lot of times, we don't have that will to keep powering on. We don't have the Rocky soundtrack always playing for us to get motivated and jacked up and ready to rock and roll. So I wanted to find out from the fans, some of you guys, and what you do when you don't have the motivation, and how you can power through that. Because here's the thing, and I mentioned it earlier a little bit, but the majority of the time, if you step back, take the LPDS step back and think about it for a second, the majority of the time in our lives, we are not motivated to do stuff. And that's not dogging on us by any means at all, okay? But just think about our everyday lives. We're just doing stuff, okay? We're going to work. We're taking care of our families. We're whatever, studying, going to class, doing whatever. We're just doing it. It's not anything. There's not a guy or a gal in our ear constantly motivating us, pepping us up every step of the way. The majority of the time, we have none of that. And every once in a while, we get those bursts of motivation, whether it's a video on Instagram or a song that pumps you up, or you're watching Rudy or a movie or something like that. Rocky for me, obviously. And it gets you all jacked up, and then you have the motivation to go. Or you hear somebody talking about it, and it gets you motivated to get up and go. But motivation, the only constant about motivation is that it's fleeting. Okay? It gives you a little bit of juice, just enough to get you going to do something. And that's it. That's all. It's a spark plug. Okay? Spark plugs help fire up engines, but don't keep engines running. I don't know if you know that. And I'm not a greaser by any means. I'm not Danny Zuko at all. But I know enough to know that the spark plug was there specifically to help the engine kick up and go. I know that's not how engines start. I don't know even why I made that sound. But it helps to kickstart the engine, a spark plug, give the spark, and then the rest of the engine is built to do its how you doing, the do. All right? We need to figure out in our lives how to keep our engines doing the do without the spark plug all the time. And that's the toughest thing. Okay? Think about it. Think about when you say, like, oh, I'm going to work out, I'm going to start exercising, and I want to lose, 30 pounds in a month. So I have to work out 5 times a day, and I'm going to do it. And you'll see in the next month, I'll be 30 pounds down, 30 pounds down, whatever your goal is. And then the first day, you're gung-ho about it. You have your whole plan set up. You pop it on your computer or whatever, on your phone. This is what I'm going to do each day. This is when I'm going to wake up and do it. I'm going to get it done. And this is what I'm going to eat for my diet, this and this and that. The first couple days, you're feeling good. I got out there. I worked out. I feel great after. You always feel great after a workout. It's part of the big 3. Exercise every day. You feel great after. So you do your workout the first couple days. You feel good after the fact. You're like, damn, I'm doing it. And then you come on, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of your work week. Now, physically speaking, your body is tired. And that's easy. That's easy to figure out why. You're doing something you didn't normally do. You're adding extra work and effort into your day. Physical labor, physical work, lifting weights. You're waking up probably earlier than you normally do, so you're getting less sleep probably. Because a lot of times what we do is if we're waking up earlier, we don't go to bed earlier. We just lose that hour of sleep or whatever it is. So you're more tired for that just because you're waking up earlier and getting less sleep. And then you're going out and doing physical activity for 30 minutes to an hour. And then you got to go to work all day, and then you got to come home, and maybe you have a family, or maybe you got a dog, or whatever it is. Maybe you're in the dating pool trying to be an outdoor cat. Whatever it is, you got a full day planned for you. You got to do stuff around the house, anything, and now you're exhausted. And now Thursday morning comes around, Friday morning, or whatever it is, and you're dead tired. And you hear your alarm, you wake up, and you're like, I am not getting out of bed tonight. Let me just take this one day. I'll take this 1 hour. I'll recharge my batteries. I need this 1 hour reset. I'll get the sleep I need, and then I'll be back at it again tomorrow. And you realize the next day you don't have that hour. Like, that hour didn't do anything for you. Didn't do shit. You got 1 extra hour of sleep. You missed out on your workout, so the endorphins are not going through your system. You're not burning the calories. And the next day you're like, man, I'm still drained from a whole week's worth of my body doing something it's not used to. I'm just going to take this next hour again, and I'll be good to go. Before you know it, you're not working out anymore. Your shit's done. You did 4 days, maybe 5 days, And then maybe throughout the rest of that month, you have 2 or 3 other days where you randomly found some time to work out, like on a weekend or something, maybe when the kids were asleep or the dog was napping or whatever, you were able to do a workout. And that was it. The goal, nothing accomplished. You're right back to square one. That's a story. That is a situation, a scenario that I know most of you can relate to, if not all of you. And if it's not working out at some other goal, I want to learn woodworking. I want to take piano lessons. I want to go out more and meet more people. I want to join this summer, kickball league or baseball league, whatever it is. And you're all gung-ho in the beginning, and then it's shot to shit by the end of the month or whatever. It's New Year's resolutions all over again, folks. Okay, it's one of the reasons why I hate New Year's is because it's malarkey. It's built off of motivation and drunken, goal setting, and then there's no actual plan of action to get the things done. And once the motivation's gone, there's nothing else behind you. What we're going to do here, what I want to do is I want to put something there for you after the motivation, okay? And what we want to put in there is called discipline, okay? And let me tell you something. Discipline sucks because you have to do the things you don't feel like doing, okay? But you do them anyway. That's what discipline is, all right? And it's tough to do. Now, I got some feedback for some folks some fans, I say folks, they're fans, it's you guys, on how you guys power through when the motivation is gone. And these are some good tips, and we're going to get into them now, and then I'll talk about some additional things you can do to build the discipline to fill that void. When the spark plug is done doing its job, you need the engine, and that's what we're going to try to build here for you guys, okay? So this first person said that they get motivated highly by videos of motivating people, motivational speakers, leaders, what have you. And one of them is David Goggins. And I've talked about him a lot. He's got a new book come out that just came out. I think it's called Never Finished, maybe. I got to buy it and read it. He's phenomenal. He is, if you haven't listened to me before talk about David Goggins, he's one of the biggest psychopath savages ever to walk the face of the planet. He's extremely motivating. The stuff he's been able to accomplish is miraculous. He's on another level of discipline and getting it done. I can't even describe it. You have to go read his story, read his books, watch his videos on Instagrams and YouTubes and what have yous. But this person here, she gets motivated by him. So when she's trying to accomplish her fitness goals, she, like everybody else, there's just some days you don't want to go and do it. Whether it's at the end of the day, you're tired from working all day, or you had a bad, a fight with your significant other or your family member or whatever, and you're just like, I don't want to do anything. I want to go to sleep. I want to do anything else but go work out. She purposely does a little like a step back. Excuse me. She takes a mental step back, and she remembers David Goggins' story, and she remembers some of the things he says. And one of the things he says is, he takes this personal inventory, this personal accountability, and he identifies his little inner bitch, and he calls his inner bitch out in the mirror to help get him off his ass and doing what he wants to do and needs to accomplish throughout the day. So she says she just thinks about that and what he would say to her if he were there and he found out that she wasn't doing or didn't want to do what she was supposed to set, to do, what she set out to do, her goal. And that gives her perspective. It gets her back in line with what she's supposed to do, her purpose, and she gets after her goal even when she doesn't want to do that. And that's good because that helps to build the discipline. It's another additional tool to build the discipline in your life. So I appreciate the feedback on that. Go watch David Goggins' videos. And then think about him screaming at you for not accomplishing your goals, holding you accountable for dogging on your goals that you set out to accomplish. Okay? You'll get off your ass real quick. I promise you that. All right? So thank you for that one. The next one here, this has to be a joke. This guy wrote, when I'm feeling not motivated, I always think about, instead of what would Jesus do, what would Johnny Sins do? The guy was a priest, a military veteran, a police officer, and a doctor, and he was able to accomplish all these goals in his short lifetime, and he's still alive accomplishing more goals. So that's his sort of inner motivation. Now, if you don't know who Johnny Sins is, Google him. That's all I'm going to say. Look up Johnny Sins. Listen. Google him. Put the kids to bed. Okay, this is not family friendly. Tell your kid to go to bed. When you Google, turn the adult search off. The filter, like the adult parent protection, parent control, whatever it's called, turn that off. Turn the safe search off. Go unfiltered search. Okay? Then you'll know who Johnny Sins is. Okay? This is why I think it's a joke. I'm not going to tell you because this is a family show. Go look up Johnny Sins. Turn your parental control off. Put the kids to bed. And then come back and give me feedback. Put it in the comments. Hit the hotline. Let me know what you think of his accomplishments as a man. And that'll give you a little bit more perspective on what this guy's talking about on why he's motivated by Johnny Sins. So thank you for that. This guy right here provided what I think is very good, and it's sort of related a little bit to the David Goggins, reminder. But this person, when he's feeling not motivated, he does a sort of a personal inventory as well. And I don't know if he does it while he's looking at himself in the mirror, or if he has little post-it notes to remind him. But he steps back from it all and remembers his purpose. And that's for all the things he does. And what he also mentioned was that he, along with I'm sure everybody else, you get stuck in the forest of your day-to-day life. You have a lot of things you got going on in your lives, work, family, whatever, personal stuff, fitness goals, whatever, and you get stuck in the mundane, just dredges of the day, and you forget, like, it all becomes just bunched up like a not a ball of yarn, but like your headphones and your earbuds when they're all wired and knotted up together, and it's all just a big mess. And he takes a step back to remember his purpose for each thing he does throughout the day, not just the bigger picture, but also each individual things he does, whether it's going to work, taking care of his kids, being a good husband, doing a fitness goal, getting personal time so he can relax and de-stress. He remembers the purpose of that so that he can stay the course. Because even if he doesn't want to go exercise, the purpose of it is to better himself so that he can be better for his family. And now, even though he doesn't want to do it, he's going to do it anyway. Okay? And that helps create the discipline in your lives, in his life anyway as well. Another thing he did mention was part of that self-inventory is he remembers something that Steve Harvey actually said. Steve Harvey, a prominent comedian, host of Family Feud now and a whole bunch of other stuff, real funny guy, super successful guy. He said a quote, and I'm going to butcher the quote. I don't know the exact quote, but he said, start living your lives again. He probably said it more eloquently. I don't know why I always, in the heat of conversation, I'm always trying to say life and lives at the same time, and it sounds terrible. But what Steve Harvey said was, start living your lives again, remembering that you get to do something as opposed to have to do something. Because, again, in the hustle and bustle of the day in our lives, we forget our purpose and forget what this is all about, okay? And you start thinking in the negative and not in the positive. And like we always say in the big three, we want to get out of the negative. We want to start living more positively, and this is part of it. His thinking was, instead of saying things or living in, I have to go to work, I have to take care of the kids, I have to go on this date with my wife or make dinner with my husband, or whatever it is. I get to do those things. Because especially for the vast majority of us here in the country of America, and I don't know how many people are overseas listening, maybe one. If you are, I don't know how it is over there for you particularly, but here in America, the vast majority of us have a very good life. Okay? Generally speaking, we got it pretty damn good. And we've talked about this previously. So instead of thinking I have to do all this stuff, I get to. Okay? I get to wake up in America with a roof under my head. I get to use the toilet that has flushable water. I get to drink water here in my specific location knowing that there's no chemicals in it right now. I get to go work in a job that pays me to work from home. I get to talk to my family all the time. I get to go see my nieces and nephew. I get to hang out with my brother at times. I get to see my friends. All this stuff. I get to work out and do fitness and exercise. I get to walk my dog. All these little things, it sounds different now in your head. Okay? And that's all it needs to do is just to start to sound different before it starts to become different for you as a person. Now you get to do all this stuff. Now you get to live instead of have to live. Okay? So that's a great piece of feedback. And all these feedbacks from all the fans, I appreciate it. It all helps create discipline in our lives. Okay? All these little things. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have discipline, when the motivation goes away, none of your stuff is going to get done. You're not going to be good at anything because you don't have the discipline to stick with it when you don't feel like doing it. You're just not going to do it. And you become lazy, and then you fail at that stuff, for lack of a better term. There's a better way to say that, but I can't think of it right now because these headphones are squeezing my stupid tiny pea brain. But laziness takes over, and you start to sacrifice the good things in your life because of laziness and lack of discipline. Okay, so now how do you create discipline? Great question. It's a simple concept, but it's not easy to do, and I understand that. So I want to be transparent with that. But it's a very simple concept. Okay, it's as simple as just do it. Okay, but I'm gonna get into what that means in a second here. It is as simple as just doing it. I don't want to work out, but I know it's part of my goal to work out and be physically fit and do this and this and that. I'm just gonna go work out even though I don't want to. It's as simple as that. But physically, emotionally, mentally, it's way more difficult to actually get that done because you don't want to do it. And you feel like you have to do it, and we want to flip that switch to make it, I get to do it, okay? So part of building discipline is creating muscle memory inside of you, inside your brains. For me, it's difficult because I got this tiny thing in here, but for some of you, it's probably a little bit easier. But creating that muscle memory and making things part of your existence, create that discipline and make things part of your day, and then you're just doing it. You don't even realize it's just part of your livelihood. Okay? The muscle memory kicks in. You're not actively thinking about it. You're just doing it. Think about the stuff now. Take a second to think about the stuff you do each day, all the things you do that you really don't think about. You wake up, you probably make coffee or have breakfast or whatever. You have a morning routine. You brush your teeth, you get dressed, you go to work, whatever it is. Think about all these little things that you just do every day, whether you want to or not. Most of us, let's be honest, most of us don't want to work. I don't want to work for somebody else, making money for them, doing business for them. All the efforts I'm doing is for somebody else. It's the same with everybody else. I get it. We don't want to work, but we're doing it. We know the reason behind it. Puts money in our pockets, food on the table for our families and for us. Pays off debt if we have debt, whatever it is. There's a reason behind it. but we just do it now. We don't think about it. We don't want to do it. We still do it, okay? That's part of muscle memory. You have a discipline enough to do that for the most part. Some of us are lazier than others, and we're not doing it. I get it. But generally speaking, look at the people out there in the world around you. They're doing it, okay? That's what we want to build for our actual goals, our separate goals other than the things we think we just have to do, like work and provide for our families. We have to do that. We get to do it, whatever. Additional goals we have in our lives. I always go back to fitness because that's the easiest one, that the most popular one. You hear about it all the time from people. Again, New Year's resolutions all the time. I want to get healthier and fitter and look better. And it's the one that falls by the wayside the easiest, the quickest, because it requires physical effort. It's not just like reading, which is difficult for some of us because you have to break a mental sweat. And some of us don't like doing that either, present company excluded. But, physical fitness requires us to get up and do something physically demanding and difficult, whether it's running or lifting weights or whatever the exercise may be. It's difficult, and it hurts our bodies, and it makes us feel like garbage while we're in the process of it until afterwards. That's when we feel better. So it's the easiest to fall by the wayside. So I always go back to that as a good example of this. But that's a goal. Let's just kind of walk through the steps here of creating discipline when it comes to fitness. All right. And again, I want to caveat this one more time. I want this to hit hard for people. These are simple concepts that I know are difficult to do. Nobody's saying this is easy. Easy over there, Randy. Stand by here, folks. All right, we had a little Randy interruption. That's the official mascot of the LPDS. Sorry about that. So we're walking through the steps. We have a goal we want to accomplish. Let's call it fitness related, okay? We're going to try to build discipline, and it's baby steps. And I want to hit hard again because I lost my train of thought earlier. Simple concept, difficult to do, okay? I get that. This is part of life. There are difficult things we have to get through that seem so simple, and we're going to try to power through and create the muscle memory and the discipline needed. All right, so by no means am I saying you should just be able to do this, no problem, and it's easy, and if you can't do it, you're weak and you're a failure. Not at all. Not at all. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing here. It's not what we're going for. So, got the fitness goal, okay? Let's say you want to do it in the morning because you work all day, and by the end of the day, you have to go, take care of other stuff. You have other stuff already scheduled in your life that you have to take care of, whether you have, a family with kids, or you're taking care of your parents, or you volunteer at your church or your nursing home, or whatever it is. The morning is the only time you're going to be able to do this stuff. Got it. So you got to wake up earlier. And if you just jump right into waking up early, driving to a gym, doing a hard workout, after a while, it's gonna break down, and you're gonna lose the will to want to keep doing it because it is tough. Okay, so and a tactic that you can use, and this is not for everybody. This is for people who don't like to go from 0 to 180 on stuff like this, okay? Most people can't do that. And there are some things for me personally that I can't do I can't go full board immediately. I need to baby step approach this. Okay, so this is the baby step approach, and you can start this however you want. You can pick and choose what steps you want to start with and how you want to tailor it to you. But this is something to build muscle memory this is basics. This is back to basics. Rookie level, how to build muscle memory and create discipline in your life for this particular one additional goal, okay? And this is another reason why I hate New Year's resolutions, because people put out 15 resolutions that they want to get done with no plan of action, and they wonder why it falls by the wayside. Pick one, okay? Get to a point where you're disciplined in your life to accomplish it, and then work on others. Set yourself up for success, okay? And discipline is the way to do that. So here we go. You want to get it done in the morning, which means you have to wake up early or find a gym, all that stuff. So to baby step approach this, you want to start out initially by creating some sort of accountability for yourself, okay? whether it's your spouse or a friend or some sort of self-accountability that sort of provides consequences to you for not getting things done. Okay? Just like in other aspects of your life. If you don't show up to work for your job, there are consequences for that, correct? If we didn't go to school, there were consequences as kids if we didn't go to school. If we didn't do our homework, consequences. We didn't clean our room, consequences from our parents. Whatever it is, if we don't do something, there are consequences to that. We are held accountable, or we should be held accountable. Some people are not, but we should be held accountable. So build an accountability mechanism for this, okay? Work with your spouse, a friend, do it with yourself. Create a whole plan. If I don't do this, then this week, if I don't do this particular step, this many days in a row, I don't do the, I don't buy this, or I don't go on this vacation. Whatever it is, find an accountability system, excuse me, so that you can hold yourself accountable. David Goggins does it by berating himself in the mirror, calling himself a bitch, and embarrassing himself to himself until he's, holds himself accountable. Now, that's difficult to do. It's very difficult to have self-accountability because you can always find excuses. It's a lot easier to find excuses why you didn't do something and instead of holding yourself accountable and doing it. So it's probably better to find a friend or a buddy system, accountability buddy, if you will, to be able to knock that stuff out for you. So build that system, whatever the punishment, the consequence is for your inaction and failure to do so. That'll give you a little bit more incentive to keep doing it, and you have someone holding you accountable to that stuff to keep you on task, okay? At least in the beginning, at least until you build a discipline, okay? That's what it's really there for, okay? From there, you start baby step approaching the actions you want to take to get to your goal, okay? And again, you can pick and choose what you want to do, how many baby steps you want to take. Some people, it's going to be a lot more steps than others. But this is just a general template, and you can tailor it and customize it. And if you need help doing that, let me know. I could be your accountability buddy all day long, okay? So for this, you want to wake up early in the morning. So the first couple days, even a week, depending on how slow you want to do this, if you want to create a new lifestyle for yourself, you could take this slower and really build a good foundation of discipline for you. Just set your alarm for the time you want to wake up. And when the alarm hits, you wake up and you get out of bed and you walk around. Go do something. Go make coffee. Just get your body up and out of bed. Get dressed. Take a shower. Hang out with your dog. Whatever it is that you can do while awake. Read a book. Watch some TV. Get out of your bed. Physically wake up at the alarm the time you want to go work out. And get physically out of bed and up and awake and doing something, okay? Because you want to get your body used to that, used to being awake that long, that early in the morning, whatever time it is. And you'll feel tired throughout, but then you won't feel tired and you won't have to, be like, oh, now I have to go to the gym and work out. Blah, blah, blah. No, you're easing yourself into it. Baby stepping into it. Okay, so wake up for a couple of days in a row. Get your body used to being up that early in the morning or whatever. Maybe you realize I have to adjust when I go to sleep at night because I'm more tired, and now I'll still get 7-8 hours or whatever of sleep, and I just shifted my life a little bit 1 hour to the left. Whatever it is, you got to whatever. That's the time, that week time frame of just waking up and getting out of bed in that hour of the morning. That's when you're going to do your life adjustments a little bit and tweaks to make sure that you can wake up and not be dog-ass tired to the point where you don't want to do anything. Okay? Next step you can take, if you need the baby step, the super baby step approach, is get up and do a physical activity. You don't have to physically go to the gym if you're not ready for that yet, but get up, go for a walk. If you have a dog or a pet, take your dog out for a walk. get some physical activity. Go do some push-ups. Get physically out of bed. Next step, go do something physical. Push-ups, jumping jacks, go for a walk. Get your body moving. Get your heart rate up a little bit. Get some activity in you. If you have a jump rope, do some jump rope. Don't wake your significant other up. If you have a family, don't wake your family up doing this stuff, but get out and do something. And then you build from there. The next step, you go to the gym. Okay? Third step in this whole process, fourth step if you count the accountability step, you're physically going to the gym. And maybe you eventually want to get to the point where you're working out for a full hour. But go to the gym, do something at the gym. Hit the treadmill, find, a bench press, do some sort of workout. It can be a light workout for a little bit of time, a few minutes, and then you're out. Now you build onto that step. You build it onto the foundation here. And an additional thing you're doing is you're creating another, you idiot, another accountability mechanism in your day, in your schedule, your process, because you're going to the gym. The people at the gym that work there in the mornings and who go there in the mornings are the same people, okay? You're going to get the same crowd in the morning workout sessions all the time. The lunchtime and the afternoon sessions, it's all over the place with people who's going to be working and lifting at that time. But in the morning, it's the same people. It's the people who've created that discipline in their lives to do that every day anyway, okay? And you're going to start becoming gym bros with these folks eventually. Everybody always does. It's the same people. You build a community, and that's the accountability aspect of it. That's the additional accountability mechanism that you will eventually build into it just inherently, just by showing up to the physical gym every day, okay? And then you eventually build that and progress things to the point where you're getting your workouts in and you're not dog-ass tired and you're not completely demotivated from wanting to do it anymore. And even on the days you don't want to do it, your body's going to be already used to it, okay? Think about, again, step back and think about your lives previously and all the times you had to get up early or shift your life schedule or whatever it is. Eventually your body gets used to it. You get used to that living situation, that shift work or whatever you're doing, and you're just that's your life now. Okay? And you don't even think about it until you step back and realize, holy crap, I worked night shift for 3 years straight and that was my life. I woke up at this time, I went to bed at this time, and in the beginning it sucked, and then after I just did it. Whether I said I wanted to or not, I just did it. That's what we're building, okay? That's the discipline that you're creating. Now it's muscle memory. It's a different part of the brain, okay? I'm not smart enough to know which part and how that works, how the neurology works behind it, but it's a different part of the brain that you're accessing and storing this process in to the point where you're doing it without having to actively think about it and force yourself mentally and physically. Like driving a car. Sometimes we just zone out, and the next thing you know, we're getting off our exit to go home, and we're like, where did that drive go? I didn't even realize I just did it. That's the part of the brain we're trying to activate and store this information in, this whole process, this system, because that's the discipline you need. And again, to tie it all up, it's not easy to do. It's difficult to do. It is a simple concept, though. That's why you need the accountability buddy to help you with this, to get you into muscle memory phase of this process so that you can go accomplish your goal. And now we talked about fitness for this example, but this is for anything. Reading a certain amount of books a month, learning a new skill, a new instrument, whatever it might be. The template is the same. You just have to customize it to the particular goal you're trying to get after. And again, anybody who wants help with this, please come talk to me. Hit me up in the hotline, hit the DMs, hit the email, whatever you want to do to reach out, hit the comments, let me know, and we can help get there. together. I could be your accountability buddy until you activate the muscle memory portion of your brain and you're doing it on your own and you're doing great things with your life. Okay? So please come hit me up and we'll get it done together. But that's all I got for this particular topic. Motivation is fleeting. That's the only constant about motivation, is that it's fleeting. And we need to figure out the best ways to get around that and to accomplish our goals, and discipline is the way. Okay, that's the freedom we need. And you can listen to anybody of any amount of success talk about this. They all say the same thing. Jocko Willink, David Goggins, all the best leaders, the best athletes, the most accomplished people. Discipline. Okay, and if you need help, let me know. That's all I got for today on that. Now, before I go, I mentioned the potential for a big announcement. And I'm putting this out there to the Junction because I need an accountability buddy for this, okay? Putting this out there in the ether is part of my accountability mechanism to make sure I'm doing what I'm saying I'm going to do, okay? I have a goal. The announcement is I have a goal to start my own business. Whether I start as a side hustle and move it up into a full-time gig for myself, but I'm gonna be starting a business soon around some sort of consulting, coaching sort of business. I'm not gonna give out money details right now. I don't even have a name for it yet. I'm sure the friends who listen to this are gonna roast me and give me a lot of shit for who's going to buy business from you, who's going to buy coaching services from you, blah, 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 whatever. I'm here for it. Give me the feedback, give me the roasting, whatever. But I will be starting a business soon. That's a goal of mine to do. And I'm putting it out there for you guys to hold me accountable to that. Ask me for updates, how it's going. I have a goal in my head to get this done very soon, very quickly. Appropriately and thoroughly, but quickly, meaning like within the next couple months. And as I get information, in and the stuff I'm allowed to, publicly release, I will. But that's my goal. That's the announcement. And I'm putting it out to you guys to hold me accountable to that. Also to see how many of you jabronis are actually listening to the entire episodes of these shows. And based on the analytics I get, not a lot of you are doing that. So maybe I need a better accountability mechanism. Regardless, keep your heads on a swivel for that and keep me honest with updates and progress and making sure I'm holding myself accountable. I need my accountability buddies here, okay, so that I can accomplish this goal. And I got my baby step template built already, and I'm going to start moving out on it. And I'll keep you apprised on how it goes. That being said, the big three. The 3 pillars of the LPDS to staying strong and being a better, happier, more positive person of value that you can, spread that goodness onto everybody else. Number 1, exercise every day. Easiest thing to do, go for a walk, like we just talked about. Take a baby step approach. Eat a meal. After a meal, go for a walk. Go do some jumping jacks in the middle of commercials of TV. Body squats, push-ups, whatever you got to do. Get the body moving. Get the calories burning. Get the heart rate up. Get the endorphin surging through your bod. And you'll be healthier and you'll feel better physically, mentally, and emotionally. Number 2, the hardest one to do because it's emotionally based. Don't be a shitty person. Don't be the negative Nancy in the room. Be a good person. Okay? Emotionally, it's a lot easier to get charged up and fire off a negative tweet or a shit talk or be an asshole to someone in the heat of an argument or the heat of rage or whatever it is, especially on the internet, because you just think it's just a computer on the other side. It's not a human being. But I'm asking you to take the step back and not do that. When the opportunity arises to be a shitty person and to live in the negative, just don't take that opportunity. That's all you got to do. Just omit yourself from the situation altogether. And then eventually when you build that discipline in you, you can actively counter that with some positive comments and feedback instead. But that's tough to do in the beginning when you're emotionally charged up and you're trying to get better with yourself. So first step to this, when you see an opportunity to be an asshole to somebody and be mean and negative, just stop. Just stop where you are right there. Don't say another word. Don't type another word. Don't post another twit. Just don't do it. And that right there, that omission of action, that inaction on your part eliminates half of the negativity in a situation. Instead of doubling the negative with your negative comment or negative input or whatever, or your shitty statement, you're just taking that away. So now there's less negativity out there and less shittiness. It's tough to do, though. I get it. Emotionally, I just want to be an asshole to people all the time. Okay? I'm right there with you, but don't do it. Number 3, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. That whole thing Steve Harvey was saying that the fan submitted, that I get to do this instead of I have to do this, it's the same concept. Okay? We're just retraining our brains to be grateful for the good we have in our lives and not take advantage of it and not take it for granted. And to take that step back and appreciate that goodness we got here in our own lives. If you're listening to this, if you have the ability to listen to this or watch this on YouTube, you got a good thing going. You got a pretty damn good life. Unless you're a real magoo and you decided to spend all your money on, a cell phone, but you live in a box. I don't know the logic behind that. I'm sure there's people who do that, but I don't think the people listening to this podcast are doing that. I think you guys have a pretty decent life, and you should realize that and appreciate that and appreciate the people in your lives that are enriching it. And the negative people in your lives enrich it too, because it gives you the opportunity to be a better person and learn from those situations and those people. And learn, whether it's learn what not to do or whatever. So be grateful for that, genuinely. Actively think about that stuff and thank your lucky stars for having that in your lives. And if you follow all those 3 things, the big 3, you'll be a better, happier, more positive human being that brings value to yourself and others. All right? Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to hit the hotline, 202-670-1114. I haven't got a hotline call in a while, but please call in questions, comments, advice to me, advice you want from me. If you need an accountability buddy, hit me up. Let me know. If you like what you're listening to and what you see on the YouTubes, tell your friends and your enemies and everybody and spread the good word so that they can share the goodness of the LPDS. All right? Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.